Well, wouldn't you know, it's another episode of a Lauren's Dreamhouse. Welcome to the show. Um, it's been great start. Actually, let's get to the meat of it. If it looks like I've been punched in the face, it's quite the opposite. Actually, I did a measure of self care today by dissolving my lip filler, and that was not my choice. The lady who does my lips was like, you need to start over. And I was like, damn, that bad, huh? So that's kind of where we're at. Um, they, I've been getting my lips done for the better part of 6 years. And what you're seeing now is my natural lips. And you might be thinking, well, Lauren looks the same. And the gag is you're right. And that I'm dumb and that I love spending money on the like to cling on to the hope that we can fix the deal. And the deal this deal is not that bad. I'll admit. But could it always be better? To me, yes. So, welcome. How are you? You doing well? I'm doing actually pretty really good and really not good. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I'm not alone. I don't know a lot of people who are going through exactly what I'm going through in terms of the family rigmarole and the family health issues, and it's been a bummer to say the least. But you know what? We gotta, life keeps going. So there's that. My, I got an air conditioner today. It's there. I was gonna put it together before this episode. I was gonna put it together before this episode, and then I was like, they want me to put a fucking tube in the window. I'm good. So that's a tomorrow job. Um, but don't worry, guys. Starting tomorrow, I am not going to be sweaty anymore, and it's going to be cool sailing from here on out. So that's good news. So all the money's gone. Who who did that? Who did you take all the money? Where'd you put it? Because it's all gone. If you took it, put it back. Um, it's a weird week. Weird to say the least. I've been doing 75 hard, and by doing 75 hard, I mean pretty much not doing it. But the thing about that is that I refuse to give up. 75 hard picked the wrong bitch this time. Um, I know last time I was like, I'm going to start 75 hard and it's going to be great and I'm going to mainline discipline. And that all started pretty well. And then as part of my thing, I was like, uh, let me also not do certain things like smoke weed. I can say smoke weed, it's legal in New Jersey. Um, I was going to not do that. And then the first day I did it because I forgot that I said I wasn't going to do that. And basically, I've gone pretty much off the rails entirely for this whole program. But what I have not stopped doing is working out twice a day, which it turns out I love and am feeling so much better because of that. I've been working from home for my day job for the past 4 years, and it's been like it's been rough because of the loneliness. And I, not to brag, but I have a ton of friends and a robust family friend work life balance, and I really have no complaints like in the friend department. But I don't always get to see people every day, especially because I live in Jersey City and most of my friends do not. So when like I spent the first 2 years I was living here, I was I didn't realize how isolated I was. And I started slipping into some bad habits. And that's like to be expected, but like when you don't realize that you're getting into a bad headspace until you realize it. And I don't know why it hits me every so often, like if my place is super messy. I know that like the sample size in the frame here, it looks like everything is out of control, but it's really not. I'm just in a studio apartment and my bed is not made and there's a jacket there and an air conditioner, but everything else is really clean and my dishes are done and my shower is pretty much immaculate and everything's pretty cool. But like every so often, I find that my apartment is super messy and my clothes are everywhere and the floors are dirty. And I'm like, oh, I'm depressed. And you don't know that because you're not crying all day. You're like, oh, wait, like I can't be depressed because I'm waking up and doing my job and doing comedy and like I have energy to do things that I want to do. But when you let your living environment turn to shit, it's pretty much a pretty crispy indication that something is wrong in your brain. Not wrong like you need to go to the hospital or you need to be on medication necessarily, but it's just you gotta reevaluate truly. So I've been battling that up and down for the past couple of years, and being alone doesn't help that very much. Um, it's cool to be alone because I love the opportunity to just like do whatever the hell I want and to make my own goddamn rules and to set my own goddamn bedtime and to, play music whenever I want. I build things. I am making music. I'm writing stuff. I got things posted to the walls, like not right now, but in the past. Um, that freedom is cool. And to feel the accomplishment of living on your own, especially for so long, is like, I do pat myself on the back for that, but it's not all it's cracked up to be. And I feel like ultimately the healthiest condition for oneself is probably to be around people more than what I have been, how I've been being. So, there's that. And I'm just I'm trying to like reevaluate everything, I guess. Uh, 75 hard. I'm not going to stop, by the way. Like, even though I technically have failed, I'm going to keep working out twice a day. I'm going to keep drinking as much fucking water as humanly possible. You're supposed to drink a gallon of water a day, which in the old days when I used to be like terrified of being fat, I would drink a shit ton of water because I knew that that was a solid way of losing weight. And now, as someone who, you know, doesn't really want to pee all day, I find it a little harder. But also, I live alone, so like, who cares? Why not drink a gallon of water a day? Why not find that extra measure of discipline in myself to do that? But sometimes I fall short. But ultimately, I think it's more important to keep going and realize that you made a mistake and to not beat yourself up over it and to just keep going. And also, I think that I'm going to keep this twice a day workout thing going until I see the results that I want past 75 days. Because I pretty much did this for results of some kind. I gained too much weight. I absolutely feel healthier, skinnier, like I have more body autonomy, like more command over my muscles, over this whole deal. See that? I'm pretty much the strongest guy in the world. But yeah, I feel pretty good in that way. Like my body feels good. So we're just going to keep going and I'll keep reporting back. I'm also like not eating carbs, which really helps too. And I only a little bit cheated on that yesterday, but I didn't have like dessert or bread or anything. I had um, a gluten-free pasta. Not good, but still, I've maintained the gluten-free of it all, which is impressive and definitely something I need to be doing because I'm like gluten intolerant to some extent. But I mean, what am I talking about? Is this not the most boring shit you've ever heard in your entire life? Um, maybe you like it. I don't know. But what do you guys want to talk about? Me? Okay. I'm kidding. Oh, tonight I went to Gotham Comedy Club. Not for me, but to be uh, at a bringer show as the one who was brought, which I don't think has ever happened before. A couple months ago, I helped my buddy Joey. Shout out Joey if you're watching this. I think he might watch this, but eh. Joey was like, "Do you think you can help me start doing stand up?" And I was like, "Fucking hell yeah, of course I will." I love that. Not only because I love being an authority figure to somebody, but also because like stand up is like weird and people don't stand up is like weird. Stand up is weird because a lot of people like gatekeep it and they get like 2 3 years, maybe even 5 years into stand up and they're like, oh, no one else should be joining comedy. It's too saturated, it's oversaturated, we don't need more people in comedy. And it's like, hello, do we need you? Do we need you and your iconic voice talking about how you can't get hard but you're 23? We're good. So Joey has been very impressive. He did an amazing job. It was like a whole showcase for a comedy class he took, um, and it was really cool to see where people are at when they start now because it's been a minute since I started, and I wouldn't even not even close. Like I would not consider myself a veteran or like a seasoned comic by any means, but it's been a couple years. It's been a couple years. A couple years since I started. Cocked your head to the side and said, I'm angry. Yeah, so it was really cool. It's been a long time since I've been to a comedy show that I'm just watching for no reason. The last time I think I did that was at like when I went to go see Jerry Seinfeld at the Beacon Theater, and I was just telling my friends about that the other day. We were talking about like, just comedy in general as insufferable people do at a birthday party, and not that they're insufferable, it's that we're all insufferable talking about comedy. Um, and I was like, to be honest, the best comedy I've ever seen was Jerry Seinfeld. And not necessarily because he made me laugh harder than anybody, but because we all know, or at least most people should know, that he is a billionaire. And it's really hard for billionaires to be funny, even if they started as a stand-up comic. Like I don't even know if there are many other examples of billionaires who are comics other than Jerry Seinfeld. Oh, Tyler Perry, of course, but I don't know if he was ever like a stand-up. Maybe he was. I'm talking out of my ass, but I don't think Joe Rogan is a billionaire yet. But Jerry Seinfeld wasn't talking about like boats, like yachts and flying first class and like the woes of being like a rich guy. He was talking about everyday stuff. And I thought it was just so impressive that someone who has been through what he's been through and has accomplished what he's accomplished, and like how you can still do a theater at multiple theaters, arena. I don't know if he's ever done arenas, but you know what I mean? Like do audiences of great magnitude, and they everyone is everyone is on the same page. That's a huge um metric of skill and talent, and it was very impressive. I'll never forget that. We went for my mom's birthday like 2 years ago, and I was like, I don't want to why do I want to go see Jerry Seinfeld? I do not want to do that. But it was really cute. So there's that. And it's just cool. Jim Gaffigan showed up tonight. I like looked over to the side and there was a guy coming in and I was like, that's Jim Gaffigan. And he came in the middle of the show did like 15, 20 minutes and derailed the whole thing in the sense that he crushed so hard that it's like, I can't believe the new people have to follow him, but that's good. Like you should be put in situations like that, especially if you want to get better. So that's cool. I also met a guy who like there were probably 20 people on this showcase, which is also cool. And they were all very different and mostly impressive. Like, not saying that I'm like where the comedy grade begins and ends, but like, I'm allowed to have a fucking opinion about the show. And I saw that fucking guy who's like, oh, one scoop poop, that guy from TikTok or Instagram or whatever. I like met him and he was like, "Are you on the show?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, so you're not a comic?" And I was like, "Well, I am, but like, what do you want from me, basically?" And then he like felt bad and he was like, "I'm so sorry. You want me to pay your mortgage?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he, just like being weird about like saying something to me, and then I was like, why does that guy look so familiar? And to his credit, he wasn't like, oh, I'm the poop guy. But uh, imagine if he was. If he was like, oh, no, you know me from the poop thing. Uh, but I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't watch that 100 times when I first saw it. I thought it was so funny. So that's cute. You know, he was really sweet and he did a pretty good job. And I give him so much credit. I was just saying this to one of my friends where I was like, uh, that kid could 100% be going up at like the Stand or wherever else, like even Gotham as a feature or something. Like he could be networking to an extent where he's like opening for people and going on the road or whatever, but he actually signed up for a comedy class and went through it and is doing this showcase. And to his credit, he also brought a lot of people in the audience, and that's really cool too, because that means that everyone had an audience. Pretty much nobody left in the middle of the show, like once quote unquote their person was done. So I think that's really cool for someone who like got a lot of internet fame and attention and then wound up like being like, oh no, I'm like not a stand up yet. I'm gonna try harder and figure it out for myself and like get better and work on the craft. I really do commend that. So, Poop Guy, if you see this, I really appreciate your self honesty and your ability to be normal and not like a weirdo who just begins a stand-up career. To be honest, I don't give a fuck who has a stand-up career. I'm not a bitter person, believe it or not. I know I complain a lot, but it's not out of jealousy. It's more just like about awe. Like I'm in awe of how all of these things are unfolding before me. The evolution of internet people becoming super famous and having careers and then where they end up later. And we all know what happens when people like explode in entertainment as children and then don't get that same attention as they grow up, and then they become like dumpster fire people that we're all like making fun of for being mean, for mean reasons. I don't think that's cool, but it's a hard life, having attention, getting attention, wanting attention, and I see a lot of people deal with that in a lot of different ways. So, you know, let's all be nice to each other. Let people do comedy. If you're a comic and you see someone starting to do comic or comedy, don't make fun of them for doing it. Make fun of them for the way they look or what, ethnic background they are, or, I'm kidding, but like make fun of them like everybody else. Don't make fun of them for starting the thing that you also do. That makes no sense. And there's no room for gatekeeping here in Lauren's Dreamhouse. Bitch. Bait break. I do a thing where every time I plan for the show, because believe it or not, I do plan. I do notes and I type them on my phone and I start recording and then I go, fuck, I didn't look at them before I started recording. So again, there's probably going to be things that I'm talking about next week that I wanted to talk about 2 weeks ago or even now. And we're just not really ever going to know what they are until I read those notes, which can be anytime or no time at all. So that's my journey, and that's actually none of your business. Another vape, Blake, break. Please pause. Oh man, do you like these coming out on Mondays, by the way? Sound off in the comments or text me because there are 50 people who watch this, but um, I love all of you individually and equally. And I want this to come out at a time that makes you happy because I'm doing it to make myself happy and to get things out and to kind of keep like a little diary of what's going on. But also, if you enjoy this and you're watching it and you're like, damn, I really wish this came out on Thursday, let me know. I would consider changing the date. It's just Monday is cool because it gives me something to look forward to on Mondays. Because Mondays can be freaking rough, especially when there's no more money, apparently. Um, I got into some heated debate, not heated, but spirited, maybe spirited debates about AI last week. And it's pretty eye opening. I'll say this, it's eye opening how many people are lying about how they feel about AI in public, but then in private, they're willing to like be like, oh, actually, like, I don't think it's that bad. I've spoken about this before. I'll speak about it until I'm blue in the face. AI is not going anywhere. And no, this is not going to become an AI podcast or an AI episode or whatever, but it is still like what happened last week. So I'm catching you up on my life. Uh yeah, AI, it's our friend for now. I just saw one of Andrew Callahan's podcasts about the Zizians and they're not called absolutists or something. They're not even fundamentalists. They're called something. What is it? I'm my own Jamie here. Zizians. Um, Rationalists. Did I say that? I don't think so. Anyway, these are people who I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but they generally believe they got caught up in a bunch of murders, but that's besides the point. They're kind of like a cult like group, not in the sense that there's like a I mean there is like a de facto leader, but there's no like sex stuff going on. It's mostly just about this group of people who believe that you need to like be nice to AI so that when it eventually rules the world, like you won't be punished. And I that resonated with me, that one element, the being nice to the computer part, because I'd be lying if I didn't say that I didn't say please and thank you every time I used AI. Does that make me the ultimate cuck? Perhaps. But I number one am just polite to an extent that I don't even really think about it. The saying please and thank you of it all, but also uh, it just it doesn't seem like a bad idea to be nice to AI as it's doing your basically work for you. And I have it do a lot of things. Like if you have attended the cigarette club in the last 2 or 3 shows last year, I used a lot of AI, like video generation stuff. I love the way that it like butchers images. Like I think we're in a really fun time with AI right now in the sense that it's so deeply flawed that it can still be like playful and interesting and like non-threatening. So I would have it generate images of like a firefighter and the Blue Man Group like making out and like cigarettes coming out of their mouths, and um like an alligator falling in love with a cop and like having big bouncy tits, and like these things are are like deeply interesting to me, and they give me joy, and they are funny. And a lot of people are like, how dare you use AI for art purposes? And that just doesn't, it just don't make no goddamn sense to me, y'all. I'm sorry, but I said this in the first episode of this season, and I'll say it again right now, and then I'll move on to non-AI talk. But like, if you draw a picture of a tree, you're either going to, unless you're developing a whole new art style that is completely 100% unique to you and not derivative in any way whatsoever, you're doing what AI is doing anyway, which is taking all these references of all your experiences and using them to inform the image that you're creating. So when AI shows you a picture of a tree, if you don't give it any instruction other than like photo or illustration or cartoon or caricature, whatever, it's just going to like generate an image of a generic tree. And if I tell you to draw a tree, you're going to do the same thing. And you're using your experiences and your memories to come up with that. And like, yes, it is definitely possible that art styles can be stolen, and I do mean stolen. Like, it's not right that an art style can be like outright copied and used to create brand new images that that artist who invented that style did not consent to. There's like a huge gray area of conflict there that is way more complicated than just like AI good, AI bad. But ultimately, it is a tool. And there's a cartoon that I saw recently, not to be like, I saw a very interesting meme about a gentleman taking a photograph, but I did see a very interesting meme with a gentleman taking a photograph, and it was like an old-timey guy in, I guess, like the late 1800s or something, taking like a tintype photograph, and someone was like, that's not art, you're using a machine, you didn't create that. But that kind of begs the question, where do you draw the line of what is art and what is not art? Like Andy Warhol and the Campbell soup cans, like he didn't invent the Campbell soup can. He had no like bearing on that original design. He just kind of like recontextualized, recolorized those images and made them famous for his own benefit. And he did, like, I'm not saying he just took a Campbell soup can and, put it on a pedestal and there's that. But also Marcel Duchamp, did he not do that weird toilet, the ready-made toilet, where like, or a urinal, whatever it was? There's a sculpture out there where it might have been the first quote unquote ready-made sculpture, but art school was a long time ago. I'm not recalling everything correctly, but there is an, Google it. Google like urinal. I'll fucking do it right now. You're a lazy piece of shit. Urinal sculpture. What? Scupper. I didn't write that. It auto completed to that. Wow, I'm right. Okay, yeah. So it's called Fountain. Marcel Duchamp's Fountain in 1917. It was just a porcelain urinal. Signed. It's a signed urinal that was just put in a fucking gallery or in a whatever. And now it's worth $1.85 million. So, try that in a small town, essentially, is what I'm saying. But we're pushing back on it now because it's new. We don't fully understand it, and it's, low key out to get us, which I'm not saying is not true. Like, I don't understand what the capabilities are and what the true dangers are and what safeguards exist and how we can protect kids and our intellectual property and so on and so forth. But all I'm saying is, like, don't hate the player or the game. Let's just, take it one day at a time, figure it out, advocate for our rights, and have fun in the process. Does that sound that bad? Don't get mad at your friends for experimenting with AI images. Like, it's fucking fun. And there's not a lot these days that's making everyone happy. And there aren't endless ways to have fun, especially ways that are like mostly free. We're all going to be like, the money's gone. I saw on Twitter that the money is gone. I've mentioned that a couple times now. There is no more. And I have a little bit of it, but when I say a little bit, I mean like a minuscule, barely livable amount of it. So, in the spirit of that, we should all be like nicer about things that bring us joy if we're not outright, obviously, stealing from each other. And if we notice that there's stealing going on, report it, do something about it, speak up. But otherwise, let's experiment, let's have fun, let's be nice to our neighbor, let's like let each other have a little bit of fun while the world is boiling. I'm not going to say burning, because I don't believe that we're at an end of the world kind of moment right now, like a lot of people seem to believe. But be nice, bitch. Anyway, maybe this is going to be a shorter one today. Maybe the shorter ones are better, maybe not. I'm only saying that because I do want to get it uploaded before midnight, and it is 11:08 p.m. right now on Monday, April 7th. That's me vaping again. What kind of things do you want to hear me talk about? I'll say that the show is going pretty well. The show that I'm writing, I don't know if I told you this before, but it has become two shows. They're not related really in any way, other than that the common thread is kind of technology, but more so just like, I'm not even going to say optimism. One of them is pretty black pilled, but in a fun way, and the other one is pretty goofy, silly goose time. And that's the deal so far, and I have a lot of work to do this week. But hopefully we all, stay healthy and keep our jobs and stuff in the process. Hold on. Man, I'm tired. I've also started going to bed. Like, part of the 75 hard journey is me trying to find out like the sweet spot of going to bed at a creative person time, which is like usually around 2 in the morning for me. But it kind of needs to not ever be that, because I do have a day job. So, in order to have the energy to work out twice a day every day, I do kind of need to go to bed by midnight. So that I can wake up by 7:30, the latest, so that I can work out for the first time. One of the rules of 75 hard is that one of the workouts has to be outside. And I was dreading that the most, but that is one of the only things that I've stuck to this entire time. Just every day I'm doing a substantial amount of fitness outdoors. And it's good. Even when it rains, I brought an umbrella this morning. It was so shitty this morning. And it probably, I was going to say it made me sad, but I think I would have been sadder if I didn't work out. And that's the gag of it all. Ain't it, folks? You really got to move your body. Working from home so many years, my hips are like tight and like terrible. And my posture is not very disciplined, whereas like before these past like 4 years, I've been super disciplined about my posture, because I had a really cool teacher in second grade who would poke us in the back and say posture, and now I don't ever forget that, no matter what chair I'm in. So thank you, Miss Data, or whatever your name is now. I hope you're alive, girlfriend. Thank you for giving me a straight ass back. You're a real one. I tried to feed a vape to a robot today, and it winked at me. Can anyone explain that? Can anyone try that in a small town? Can anyone please take me to God's country? Please. By the way, Morgan Wallen is annoying and boring. I do not understand the hype around Morgan Wallen, and I'm not really the type to talk down about or say negative things about celebrities because the beginning of end the beginning and end of that is that I don't know them. So it is not really fair of me to be like, I don't like you, but the energy is off. And I can't really fight that. When the energy's off, it's off. So that's not my fault. And I'm ultimately just trying to survive out here. I hope you understand. Is there anything else that I can talk about? Sorry. Baseball's back, thank God. And by thank God, I mean, okay, I heard that the food at Yankee Stadium is better now, which is cool because that's pretty much why I go to baseball games is to eat and drink. It's kind of like a cool escape. Oh, today was National Beer Day, I guess. Um, Stimulus checks. Ooh, that's trending. Are we getting them? Are we getting the stimulus checks? I don't know. I subscribe to that platform called Ground News, and it's where you get like the supposed unbiased news stream where it shows you like all the stories that are being heavily covered by the left and the right and the center and like what the quote unquote blind spots are in these spheres, in these echo chambers. And I find it to be pretty cool. I think it costs like $40 for an annual subscription. I opted for whatever the whatever that commitment was because I wanted to support them. I think it's a cool effort, but you know, who knows? Could all be fake. I don't believe anything anyway. What was your favorite news story of the week? I can't believe I missed out on the Severance freaking Lumen activation thing they did in Homedale this weekend. My buddy's cold weather company played. They're not like my close friends, but we went to college together, and they're sweet guys, and we follow each other on Instagram. They're cool guys, and it's cool that they got to do that. But I wish I got to be there and see it. If you don't know this already, I freaking love Severance, and I've discovered so many Easter eggs, and I'm now like the guy that everyone comes to for their Severance theories. If you don't know me, we don't really speak, but you want to DM me about Severance or you have questions or theories or whatever, I'm absolutely more than thrilled to discuss those things with you because it is a Severance is a great joy, and I'm finding a lot of world building inspiration in Severance, and boy, do I enjoy it. You know, it's a great time, and I don't want to wait too long for the next season to come out, but have I been watching the episodes over and over and over again just to find more clues? Yes. Do I take notes in a Severance notebook where I'm trying to piece everything together and come up with a super theory? Yes, I am doing that. Thank you for asking. And that's kind of just the way of the blade, I suppose. I just apparently the White Lotus finale was like yesterday or tonight, and I just can't even be bothered with it. Like, I saw the first two episodes and I was like, this sucks. And there's nothing about brain implants or robots or the future or anything. And I didn't know I was going to become such a tech nerd in my late 20s, but here we are. I guess I'm just attracted to what scares me. Tag yourself. All right, folks. I'm sorry. This is going to be a shorter episode this week. I'm calling it now. It's done, pretty much. I did last week. If you were on my Instagram live, I created my podcast music. It's very silly. You must have heard it at the beginning of this episode because that is what I put there. But I'll probably rewrite it or do different ones all the time because why not? It's more fun that way. It's my podcast and you can't tell me what to do. And I'm the one that celebrities call for their kids' birthday parties. Okay? So, thank you for tuning into my Instagram live last week and watching me do that. Um, if you want to write my podcast music for me and send it to me, I'll use it once. And if it's great, I'll use it every time and I'll strike some kind of deal with you. And because that's just the kind of guy I am. So, that offer's on the table. And this week, I got a lot going on, but I'm going to go see some venues with my manager. And we're going to start talking about the show. And we're going to get some gears turning and some plans in motion. And hopefully, I'll have something more to report to you guys next week. But in the meantime, let me know what my blind spots are, what I'm not covering that you think I should be covering or you think I'd be interested in. And also, I'm happy to like blind react to stuff too. If you want to send me stuff on Instagram and you're like, don't open this until you're on the podcast, please. I love being entertained. And more than anything, I love, you know, wasting time. So, even though I don't really believe in wasted time, because if you're doing something that you like, then you can never waste your time because enjoying things is a completely valid way of spending your time. And even if you don't like it, then you learn something from it. And learning is always a good use of your time. Woohoo! Okay? So there's that. If there's anything you should take away from this week is that you might not need to work out twice a day, but you should at least work out a little bit every day because your brain will improve. Even if you don't get skinnier or stronger, your blood flow will improve. Your complexion will improve. Your sleep will improve. And if you're super anxious, you need to move your muscles to get the anxiety out of your fucking tissue. Not to sound like Joe Rogan, but shit's true. Like, you need to move your body to get the gunk out. It's like jerking off, but not sexually. It's like working off. You're not working out, you're working off. And on that absolutely brilliant note, my name is Lauren Leroux. Thank you for spending this time in Lauren's dream house. Wish me luck with that air conditioner. Let me know what I should talk about next week. And I love you all very, very much. A good night and happy Monday.